What happens when two of country music's biggest personalities clash on live television? You won't believe what unfolds when Blake Shelton sits down with Kelly Clarkson for what was supposed to be a light-hearted chat about his latest projects. Instead, viewers witnessed one of the most explosive confrontations in daytime television history, complete with accusations, heated exchanges, and a dramatic walkout that left the studio audience in stunned silence. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe what unfolds when these two powerhouses go head-to-head in ways nobody saw coming. The tension was palpable from the moment Blake Shelton walked onto the Kelly Clarkson show set. What should have been a friendly reunion between two former voice coaches quickly transformed into something far more sinister. Kelly, who had been riding high on recent ratings success, seemed determined to push boundaries that perhaps should have remained untouched. As Blake settled into the familiar guest chair, adjusting his signature cowboy hat, Kelly's opening remarks carried an edge that immediately caught viewers' attention. Well, she began with that trademark smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Look who decided to grace us with his presence. Blake Shelton, the man who thinks he knows everything about everything. Blake's eyebrows shot up, clearly taken aback by the unexpectedly sharp introduction. Excuse me? He responded, his Oklahoma drawl carrying a hint of confusion, mixed with growing irritation. Kelly, what the hell is that supposed to mean? The studio audience shifted uncomfortably as Kelly leaned forward, her demeanor shifting from playful to confrontational in seconds. Oh, don't play dumb with me, Blake. We've all seen your recent interviews where you've been throwing shade at daytime talk shows, saying how they're all fluff and no substance. Ring any bells? Blake's jaw tightened visibly as he processed her words. It was clear he hadn't expected to be ambushed on what he thought would be a friendly promotional appearance. Kelly, if you're talking about that interview with Rolling Stone, you're taking my words completely out of context. I never specifically mentioned your show, and frankly, this hostile welcome is pretty damn unprofessional. The temperature in the studio seemed to drop several degrees as Kelly's smile became more forced, more artificial. Unprofessional? That's rich, coming from someone who's made a career out of making snide comments about his colleagues behind their backs. Tell me, Blake, what did you really think about my show before you agreed to come on today? Blake shifted in his chair, his discomfort evident as he glanced toward his publicist in the wings. Look, Kelly, I don't know what's gotten into you today, but I came here to talk about my new album and maybe have some laughs with an old friend. If you want to turn this into some kind of interrogation, then maybe we should just call it quits right now. But Kelly wasn't backing down. Her producers had clearly coached her to push harder, to create the kind of viral moment that would dominate social media feeds for weeks. Oh no, you're not getting off that easy. You see, Blake, I've been in this business long enough to know when someone's talking shit about me, even when they think they're being clever about it. The country star's face flushed red as his temper began to flare. Are you out of your goddamn mind? I've never said a bad word about you personally, Kelly. We worked together for years on The Voice, and I thought we had mutual respect. What the fuck is this really about? Kelly's eyes gleamed with something that looked almost predatory as she sensed she was getting under his skin. Mutual respect? Is that what you call it when you tell reporters that daytime television hosts are just failed recording artists trying to stay relevant? Because that sure sounded like a shot at me. The audience gasped audibly as Blake's hands gripped the arms of his chair. That's not what I said, and you damn well know it. You're twisting my words to manufacture drama for your ratings. This is exactly the kind of bullshit I was talking about. Hosts who care more about creating controversy than having genuine conversations. Kelly's laugh was sharp and humorless. There it is. The real Blake Shelton, everybody. The one who thinks he's too good for the rest of us who actually work for a living, instead of just showing up drunk to judge singing competitions. The comment hit like a slap across the face, and Blake's expression darkened considerably. Did you just accuse me of being drunk on television? That's a serious fucking allegation, Kelly. And you better have some proof to back up that kind of claim. The studio fell silent except for the hum of cameras still rolling, capturing every moment of the escalating confrontation. Kelly seemed to realize she might have crossed a line, but her pride wouldn't let her back down. Instead, she doubled down with a venomous smile. I'm just saying what everyone in the industry already knows, Blake. Your behavior on The Voice became increasingly erratic. Your comments more inappropriate. And let's not forget that little incident during the live shows that the network had to cover up. Blake's face went from red to white as he processed the implications of her words. You're really going to sit there and spread lies about me on live television? After everything we've been through together, this is how you want to play it? The tension had reached a breaking point, and everyone in the studio could feel it. Kelly's producers were frantically signaling from behind the cameras, but she seemed oblivious to everything except the confrontation unfolding before millions of viewers. What happened next would change everything, and the explosive revelation Kelly was about to make would push Blake past the point of no return. Kelly leaned back in her chair with the confidence of someone who believed they held all the cards. You want to know what this is really about, Blake? It's about the phone call I got from Gwen Stefani 3 months ago, crying her eyes out because of the things you said about her after your breakup. Real classy stuff, by the way. The mention of his ex-girlfriend's name hit Blake like a physical blow. His entire body tensed as he processed what Kelly had just revealed on live television. What the fuck did you just say? Gwen called you? About what exactly? Kelly's smile turned predatory as she sensed she had struck gold. Oh, so now you're interested in having a real conversation? She told me everything, Blake. About how you trashed her to anyone who would listen, called her career a joke, said she was desperate for attention. Really mature behavior from someone pushing 60. Blake's hands were now visibly shaking with rage. That's complete horseshit, Kelly, and you know it. I would never say anything like that about Gwen. We ended things amicably, and I've never spoken publicly about our relationship in a negative way. You're making this shit up for ratings. But Kelly pressed on, clearly energized by his obvious distress. Am I? Because she had some pretty specific quotes, Blake, like how you told Miranda Lambert that Gwen was trying too hard to be young and how you laughed about her desperate attempts to stay relevant. Sound familiar? The blood drained from Blake's face as he realized the implications of what Kelly was suggesting. Miranda? You're saying Miranda told Gwen that I... Jesus Christ, Kelly. Do you realize what you're doing right now? You're destroying relationships and friendships with second-hand gossip and lies. Kelly's eyes lit up with malicious glee. So you're not denying you said those things to Miranda? Interesting. Tell me, Blake, how does it feel to have your dirty laundry aired in public? Because that's exactly what you've been doing to everyone else for years. Blake shot to his feet so quickly that his chair nearly toppled over. That's enough. I don't have to sit here and listen to this fabricated bullshit from someone who's clearly lost their goddamn mind. You want to destroy my reputation for your ratings? Fine. But I'm not going to be part of this character assassination. The studio audience gasped as Blake began removing his microphone, his movements sharp and angry. Kelly, however, seemed thrilled by his reaction. Running away, Blake? That's pretty typical. Just like how you ran from your marriage, ran from The Voice when things got tough, and apparently ran your mouth about Gwen when she wasn't around to defend herself. Blake whirled around to face her, his face contorted with fury. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. My divorce was painful enough without having to relive it on your damn show. And I left The Voice because I was ready for a change, not because I was running from anything. Kelly stood up as well, matching his energy with her own brand of toxic enthusiasm. Oh please, spare me the sob story. Everyone knows you were pushed out because your behavior became too erratic, too controversial. The network was tired of cleaning up your messes. The confrontation had reached a fever pitch, with both stars now standing and facing off like prizefighters in the center of the stage. Blake's publicist was frantically trying to get his attention from the wings, but he was too focused on the battle unfolding before him. You're absolutely delusional if you think I'm going to stand here and let you assassinate my character with lies and twisted gossip. This isn't journalism, Kelly. This is a fucking hit job. And everyone watching can see exactly what you're doing. But Kelly wasn't finished yet. The final blow she was about to deliver would seal Blake's fate and ensure his explosive exit from the show would be remembered for years to come. With the cameras still rolling and the studio audience watching in stunned silence, Kelly delivered her most devastating attack yet. You know what, Blake? Since we're being so honest today, let me share something else Gwen told me. She said you have a serious drinking problem that you refuse to acknowledge, and that's the real reason your relationships keep falling apart. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Blake's face went completely pale, then flushed crimson with a rage so intense that several audience members visibly recoiled. "You fucking bitch!" he snarled, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "How dare you sit there and spread lies about my personal life? That's defamation, and you're going to hear from my lawyers." Kelly threw her head back and laughed, the sound cold and cruel. "Oh, now you want to lawyer up? That's perfect, Blake. Sue me, please, because then we can get all your dirty secrets on the record during discovery. I'm sure your fans would love to hear about your little incidents backstage, your inappropriate comments to female contestants, and let's not forget about that restraining order that got buried." Blake's entire body was trembling with fury as he ripped the remaining microphone equipment from his shirt. "There is no restraining order, you psychotic liar. You're making shit up as you go along, and everyone with half a brain can see what you're doing. This is the most disgraceful display of unprofessionalism I've ever witnessed." The studio had descended into chaos. Producers were frantically trying to signal for a commercial break, but Kelly waved them off, clearly intoxicated by the drama she had created. "Unprofessional? I'm just asking the hard questions that real journalists should be asking. Maybe if more people held you accountable for your behavior, you wouldn't be such a train wreck." Blake began storming toward the edge of the set, but Kelly's next words stopped him dead in his tracks. "Running away again, Blake? Just like you ran when the police showed up at your house last month? Oh wait, did I forget to mention that little detail?" The country star whirled around with such violence that his chair finally toppled over with a loud crash. "What the fuck are you talking about? There were no police at my house. Kelly, you've completely lost your goddamn mind, and I'm done being part of this circus." But Kelly pressed on, her voice rising with excitement. "Domestic disturbance call, Blake. Your neighbors heard screaming and called it in. Want to tell our audience what that was about? Or should I ask your current girlfriend when she comes on next week?" Blake's face contorted with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "You're absolutely fucking insane. There was no domestic disturbance, no police. And if you think you can threaten the people I care about to get ratings, you're even sicker than I thought." The confrontation reached its breaking point as Blake strode back toward Kelly's desk, his fists clenched at his sides. "Let me make something crystal clear to you and everyone watching this shit show. I have never laid a hand on any woman in my life. I don't have a drinking problem. And every single thing you've said today is a goddamn lie designed to destroy my reputation." Kelly stood her ground, seeming to feed off his anger. "Then why are you so upset, Blake? If none of it's true, why not just laugh it off and prove me wrong? The fact that you're having such an explosive reaction tells me I'm hitting pretty close to home." Blake's laugh was bitter and filled with contempt. "You want to know why I'm upset? Because I'm watching someone I used to respect turn into a tabloid vulture who's willing to destroy friendships and spread malicious lies for fucking ratings. This isn't entertainment, Kelly. It's character assassination." The studio audience began murmuring among themselves, clearly uncomfortable with the level of hostility they were witnessing. Several people had already gotten up to leave, but the cameras kept rolling, capturing every moment of the meltdown. Kelly's smile never wavered as she delivered her final insult. "You know what your real problem is, Blake? You can't handle the fact that your career is over. You're a washed-up has-been who's desperately clinging to relevance, and deep down you know it. That's why you lash out at everyone around you." That was the final straw. Blake's composure completely shattered as he unleashed a torrent of profanity that would later require extensive censoring. "Fuck you, Kelly. Fuck this show. Fuck your lies, and fuck anyone stupid enough to believe this bullshit. You're a pathetic excuse for a human being who's so desperate for attention that you'll destroy anyone to get it." Without another word, Blake turned and began marching toward the exit, but not before delivering one final devastating blow. "You want ratings, Kelly? Here's your fucking ratings." Everyone watching this needs to know that Kelly Clarkson is a lying, manipulative bitch who will say anything to stay relevant. This show is a joke, and so are you. The studio erupted as Blake stormed off the set, his heavy footsteps echoing through the suddenly silent space. Kelly stood frozen at her desk, her confident smile finally cracking as the reality of what had just happened began to sink in. The audience sat in stunned silence, many of them looking horrified by what they had witnessed. As Blake disappeared through the backstage doors, his voice could still be heard shouting at his publicist and anyone else within earshot. Get me the fuck out of here. I'm never coming back to this godforsaken network again. And make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person Kelly Clarkson really is. The cameras continued rolling for several more seconds, capturing Kelly's shell-shocked expression and the uncomfortable silence that had fallen over the studio. When the show finally cut to commercial, the damage had already been done. What was supposed to be a friendly promotional appearance had turned into one of the most explosive television meltdowns in recent memory, with Blake Shelton's dramatic exit serving as the exclamation point on a confrontation that would be talked about for years to come.